Hello, everyone. Today I am really happy because I have one of the most international, wonderful, great speakers. Today we have Dr. John J. Schwarm. Dr. John J. Schwarm is an experienced lecturer, presenter, and a facilitator of learning. He has been an adjunct faculty member of Concordia University, Chicago since 2005. In January 2018, Dr. John joined the full-time faculty at Concordia University, Chicago College of Business. He has served the university as Chair of Graduate Programs, Chair Graduate Business Programs, Associate Dean, and is currently the Director of Business Development. Previous to his role here at Concordia University Chicago College of Business, Dr. John was the Director of Sales for General Revenue Corporation, which is a division of Navient. Dr. John has a substantial background in management, consumer lending, debt collection, marketing, sales, and educational finance. For the past 30 years, he has been active with 15 different financial aid, purser, banking, and other professional organizations. Prior to Navient, Dr. Schwarm held senior management positions with the Illinois Student Assistant Commission. Dr. John teaches business courses such as group dynamics, organizational behavior, marketing, and organizational communication. Please welcome with me, Dr. Schwarm.
Thank you, Ahmed. It's terrific to be here, and thank you again for your invitation.
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Schwarm, for giving us your wonderful time at American Training Academy Facebook page to share your wonderful experience and knowledge with our audience today. Today, our topic is about, could COVID-19 be a case study? And we are going to talk about the crisis management. And from your opinion, Dr. Schwarm, how can we get out of this crisis more stronger?
Well, there's two aspects of that, both a personal aspect of it and a professional aspect of it. And I think if we start off with the personal aspect of it, just to try and get back to doing the things that you've always wanted to do at home and didn't have the time. Since we're all in our home and being quarantined, it's a good chance to catch up on our reading, our writing, our correspondence to people. Organizational skills would be great at home to try and take care of those projects that you've always wanted to get to. As far as professional, yeah, this is a great time for running businesses, which most of us are, or running parts of that business. Is a good time to do those heavy projects, to do that research. As for myself, I'm teaching classes online, and I am working on 3 different articles right now. So I'm going to keep real busy while I have this downtime. But by the same token, I'm also doing a lot of fun family projects and some personal projects. So the activity is constant. So I'm never bored here. I want to make sure that whatever I do kind of advances what I'm doing professionally and personally, so that I come out of this ready to go, raring to go, and ready to take on the next challenge.
Wow, that's really wonderful, Dr. Schwarm. Dr. Schwarm, you always talk with your students, and as a speaker, you always talk about the importance of reflection, to use this time in a reflection so as we can analyze our past and know what actions should we take in the future. So could you please tell us more about reflection in this tough time?
Sure. I mean, we all have those moments where we could be surrounded with a lot of negative feelings and very stressed with this situation, but we also have to look at it on the other side of the positive parts of this, our ability to connect with our families, connect with ourselves, connect with our religion. Certainly taking those moments to reflect, to pray, to just reflect on what's going on in the world, but also spend time with ourselves to make sure that we're doing those great things to improve ourselves, whether it's exercise. To me, again, I'm writing several articles and trying to get ahead of that. During the year, I'm very busy with students and things like that, so it's hard to do that research and that deep dive into things. So being able to really concentrate and research for several hours at a time is super great experience. I have several books that I'm reading simultaneously. So, I mean, there's many things that are going on. New course development ideas. There's no end to it. You can certainly keep doing this and just spend that time in reflection. And again, at the end of the day, it's like, wow, I can't believe the day ended. I got so much done. and I have so much more to do tomorrow.
That's really wonderful, Dr. Schwarm. So, Dr. Schwarm, when we are talking about the corporate life right now, a lot of people are frustrated. Like, we are going to graduate, we might not find jobs. So, as a corporate leader and a great professor, what's your advice to those students who are going to graduate, and what skills should they prepare for after this COVID-19?
Okay, sure. The job market is, again, every year this, we have the same kind of song and dance about what are we going to do, what are we going to do, and every generation that graduates is always worried about their prospects. There are people that are going to be retiring. There are new businesses that are going to be open. Again, employers want to see positivity. They want to see that you can work hard and have the skills necessary. Part of what you need to do while you're reflecting is we have to look at our inventory of skills. What do we need to develop? What is the market looking for in terms of jobs? Those that are graduating should be looking, I don't know, starting the fall of their senior year for internships and other job possibilities, especially in their major, to say, hey, does my major line up with what the market is wanting right now? What skills do I need to develop? What skills do I need to enhance? Or what classes do I need to take in order for me to qualify for that job? So this is important. This is at an important time. So before the clock runs out and you graduate, look for those additional skills, but also get in line with your resume, your CV. Make sure that that's up to date. Have a bio. Get that 30-second elevator speech ready to go. Be able to network. Now's a great time to network. People are in front of their computers. They're okay. People love to help, especially students just getting their career started. So everybody wants to play a part of that. You had mentioned before in our conversations about how to get out of COVID-19 even better. One of my thoughts is, many years from now, we're going to be reflecting on this as a what happened when. From a disaster recovery standard, a historical standard. Again, this is going to be a case study, not written exclusively by me, but by many, about how we went through this, the strategies we took, and how we recovered from it. And, when we talk to our grandchildren and great-grandchildren, when they ask us about the big quarantine of 2020, I want to make sure that we reflect that we were leaders at that time, that we took proactive stances, we didn't panic. Panicking is never good. It's never been a positive thing. It never came to any real good conclusions either, or outcomes. So the idea is not to panic, but the idea is to demonstrate our leadership and good, solid planning and preparedness for the next thing. So business leaders are using this time to saying, okay, maybe this wasn't part of our disaster plan, but it will be in the future. Because there's going to be another pandemic. We know that. It's just a matter of time. Consequently, 100 years ago, we had the pandemic, Spanish flu pandemic of 18 and 19, 1918 and 1919. That killed between 50 and 100 million people, about 675,000 Americans. So when we think about the global nature of that and how primitive medicine is compared to today, it's really an amazing thing that to look at and reflect on and what they did back then. The same things they did back then we're doing today, which is the social distancing aspect, the closing of theaters and bars and restaurants and so forth. All that stuff happened as well. But what was interesting in how they restarted the economy, how does this come back? And I think that's really going to be another part of this. Business leaders that are really curious about this. How do we get back basically start the assembly line once again? How do we start our machines? How do we start the flow of things? Well, our government's going to give us some aspects of what we can do. So we're going to have to work within that and those parameters, much like the restaurants of today have said, well, we can't be open, but we can be open for carryout. Well, great, they can preserve part of their revenue stream. They can preserve part of their business. Similarly, when we get back online, if let's say we're lucky enough to go back on May 1st, it would be the first day back. That's what is planned right now. If we can get back on May 1st, well, not everyone's going to rush for those goods and services. There will be a little bit of that, but again, there's still going to be a cautiousness about people, a distance to people. I think about Even our social greetings, will we be shaking hands anymore? What will be the new handshake?
That's true.
You know, who's going to create the new handshake, or will be the elbow bump from
Yeah,
this
like this.
point forward? Yeah, the elbow bump. Will that be more of the social greeting of the day? So we think about restarting these not only from just the greeting of our friends and associates, acquaintances, but how are we going to greet each other in the future? I also think about restarting things. If you are in the sales business or that's your vertical, how do we talk with people? I think we're going to do a lot more by video, a lot more prospecting by video, Zoom calls. Having those conversations so that we don't have to be on planes as much and rely on that transportation. But there's nothing more exceptional than to have that face-to-face conversation.
Wow.
To fly across the country, have that conversation, that the richness of that conversation can't be replaced by a Zoom call. It certainly can't, but it certainly will give us an idea of how to do business a little better, a little faster, a little leaner. So if I was a graduate that's coming up, I would, again, going back to your other questions, let's look at my skill set. Let's look at my resume. Let's make sure that my resume is matching the skill sets required. And take an inventory of that, start networking, and look for those jobs that are in that vertical. If you're looking in, I'm not, pick your vertical, but look at all the tangential kind of industries that surround that vertical. Are those of interest to you if you can't get into that vertical?
Wow, wonderful
So,
information, Dr. Schwarm, as usual.
sure.
Great, valuable information. And you are now highlighting the importance of being a flexible leader who can adapt and improve. So this will take us to the importance of being resilient in this tough time. So Dr. Schwarm, how can you see like being a resilient as a leader? How can this really enlighten the pathway to your team? And how can this make you more confident, inspiring others in this tough time?
I think the one thing that has always impressed me about our business school and about our business leaders is how ingenious they are on the fly. When one problem occurs that we can't go down that track, we find a way around it. Much like, again, the restaurants that are opening up, the drive-through that are doing different things, the delivery services that they never even thought of before, the ability to sell different types of goods that they've never thought of before, opening up ways to do things much better, much differently, much faster. I think it's also focused our customers to figure out a different way to attract to us as well, whether it's buying through the web that they may not done before, having different methods of doing that. As far as resilient leadership, again, it shows the planning there, the thought process, that time for reflection gives you an opportunity to think about, okay, panicking is not the option, so we have to think of a solution. Here's 3 other ideas that we have today. Let's get back to the team and let's see if these are possible. Let's see if they've got any great ideas. Work together and collaborate and figure out ways to do things much better. That's the neat part about leadership and management, is that you're engaging your team on many levels to bring out that creativity, to bring out that energy, to make sure that they're engaged, but also they've got great ideas. And the leadership shouldn't have the only great ideas. It comes from the team, and because oftentimes they're on that edge between the customer and the business. And when you're on that edge, living on that edge, that is such a valuable experience, because you're hearing what the customers need, what they're looking for, but also what the company can provide. So that gives us great insight. So I want to talk with those leaders that are on the edge of the firm to see what can we do better? How can we serve our customers better?
Wow, that's really great, Professor Dr. Schwarm. Dr. Schwarm, you always talk about at the corporate level that a lot of companies are going to use, like, one day it will be a work from home or a virtual online day. And you say this will be like most probably the trend in the coming years, that companies will start to use one day, like before it was like one day casual day. They go to the office in a casual so as they will be more engaged. But you took it further and you really inspired us when you were talking about those coming trends. So can you highlight more about this?
Sure. Thanks for bringing that up. When we're thinking about disaster planning, we often think about, fire, theft, cyber attacks, power outages. I mean, I live in the Midwest, so snowfall, weather conditions are really bad sometimes. All those things transpire, but pandemic generally isn't in the list of things that happen. So when we think about flexible companies, and the universities have been great about flipping things from a face-to-face module to an online module basically overnight. And the professors are so well prepared that it matters not whether they're online or face-to-face. They can switch gears quickly. Now thinking about that in a normal business in corporate America, how do we switch that business quickly? Those corporate leaders that were not a fan of remote workers or virtual workers really have a new idea about it. They have a new appreciation for people that work remotely, and certainly can grasp that, how important this is. As he had mentioned before, disaster planning requires preparation and practice, right?
Sure.
Our military, don't look for conflicts, but they practice them quite frequently, so they're good at executing. Our fire department, our police department, they go through practice and simulations. Airplane pilots, simulations, all those things go on. We need to simulate that more in business. We have a disaster plan that's often given to just the leaders, and then put in a file folder and tucked away someplace. Hopefully never to be looked at. Sorry, it had to be looked at this year. You had to dust that file off, but what's in here? Is there enough material in here, to do things? So what we haven't done is practice these drills. And what I would encourage business leaders to think about is, instead of a casual Friday, do a virtual Friday. Or once a month, do a virtual day where the entire office is cleared out, and that we can practice being online. Practice working remotely, practice our meetings remotely, how to shift these things remotely and do our entire operation remotely without missing things. So this is something that we need to practice way more than anything else.
Wonderful. That's really great.
Again, the university.
Dr. Schwarm. Let me highlight here something, because when Dr. Schwarm said that let's practice Friday, like virtual Friday, because in the US, the weekend is like the holidays, Saturday and Sunday. So in different countries, it might vary. So Dr. Schwarm here highlights that you can use this one day, even Monday, Tuesday, you can pick it according to the country that you are living in. It was a great, wonderful advice that you are giving it for everyone globally, whether they have the weekend Saturday or Sunday, or they had a weekend Friday or Saturday. Thank you so much, Dr. Schwarm, for valuable information. I just highlighted this because our audience are from all over the world, so I just wanted to make sure that you are not only choosing one day, they understand the main concept from you. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. So this will take us to the next question, Dr. Schwarm. So when we see time management coming in this part, right now we have a lot of time, and you talked about preparation. And one of the great quotes that Oprah Winfrey said, luck is preparation when it meets an opportunity. So it's really wonderful, because it's very important right now to prepare, whether we are at a corporate life or we are students in university, as you advised us to take those moments of reflection. So how can you see the time management integrating into those valuable information that you shared about reflection and preparation, so as we can make tomorrow better than today?
Okay, yeah, luck favors the prepared. Luck favors the prepared. That was from the Incredibles movie, as a matter of fact. So absolutely, if we're prepared to do things, we prepare in school for, well, it's a different way. We as college professors, faculty, have to prepare students for jobs that don't exist yet.
Wonderful.
And the same is true for elementary school and high school, that they're preparing students for jobs that don't exist, or haven't been created, better stated, haven't been created yet. So we need to keep that in mind, that we're going to teach them the critical skills about thinking, organization, planning, recognizing opportunity, strategy, thinking a lot of different things besides just here's what we did then, here's what we do now. In my classes, I try to focus on real life situations, real life case studies that have happened in the past or that have happened in various companies, and what happened as a result. How can we resolve this issue? What are good strategies to do that? Now, there's many case studies that are published out there by various publishers, but the neat part about that is you can actually update some of those answers that meet the times. So when we think about what happened in the quarantine of 18 and 19, well, that's really interesting. What had happened then was they staged their work a little differently. So there were various people arriving, let's say, who are bakery. They'd have only 2 people start, then as the day progressed, 2 other people showed up and the other 2 left. So there was not a full staff at any one given time. They traded work, and so they also balanced out the transportation things. Well, fast forward 100 years later, what are we doing? We're telecommuting, we're virtual working. We've used the technology to our best benefit. So yes, preparation, I think there's an amazing opportunity for those that are in disaster planning to reflect on this and certainly go back to their clients and saying, what worked and what didn't work with our disaster plan? Maybe it's time to update that. Let's do that consulting work right now. I think any students that are involved in maybe management consulting can certainly embrace this as an opportunity as well, because heck, you lived through a disaster. You lived through this. How did technology work well? How did it did not work well? What are some security aspects that we haven't thought of that came up along the way? So yeah, preparation is everything.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Schwarm, today for your valuable insights, valuable information. So if you'd like to summarize what we talked about from reflection, preparation, and working at the corporate level or at the graduate level right now. So all of those valuable information, and I will give you the mic to highlight all of those important notes and summarize it for us, for your audience all over the world right now.
I'll do my best. I think overall, if I had to have one concept that goes over everything, is emotional intelligence. The difficult part for many people that are extroverts versus introverts. Now, not one person can be a total extrovert or a total introvert. They would be crazy at that point. But so introverts and extroverts, you know, we have to figure out how to work best with each one of those groups as well. Using that emotional intelligence to know that if a colleague is struggling with the virtual work, reach out to them. How do we reach out to them and help them through that? We're leaders, so we have to make sure all of our team is on board with what we're trying to accomplish on the daily, that we meet with them regularly, that we've got a planned set of meetings, and respecting their privacy. If they don't want to be on camera, absolutely, let them not be on camera. But you know, sometimes having that face-to-face, even on camera, we can sense a lot of what's going on and maybe help them through this situation. Not everybody's really great with being locked in their home for weeks, months at a time. So we have to embrace that. How do we help them through that? And how do, as leaders, help them through that? How can we maybe give a subtle gift to them arbitrarily for a job well done, instead of a pat on the back that we would do in the office? Maybe reach out and send them flowers or a bowl of fruit or something like that to just welcome them, to make sure that they feel appreciated. So we think, you know, in retrospect and everything, again, we have an opportunity here. We have an opportunity to document a real life case study, much like it happened in the Spanish influenza back in 1918 and 1919. We hope that this is over in a couple of weeks, but we don't know. We certainly don't know. We just hope. We want to make sure that we document this and we can reflect on it, on what our actions were, that they were logical, that they were planned, that we took advice from our government, our healthcare leaders, but also from our people. We took good advice, that we found good ways to work around these situations and adapted our industry, whatever that was, to make sure that we kept our business open, but also met the customer demand. We understand it's going to be a slow recovery, but we have to be kind of merciful with everything in our operations, especially maybe our credit policies, that working with our customers to make sure that they can pay at some point in time, and being more flexible on these things. Overall, be positive. Be positive about the experience. Figure out ways to learn things, learn new things, research, write, read, reflect. All those things are great. I know for me, I actually am now having to forced into a situation where I'm teaching my fourth grader math and things like that. So I mean, so it embraces that part of my teaching profession that I'm called upon by my high schooler and my college student here to ask. They're asking me questions about things, so I'm happy to do that. That's a great opportunity to connect with my children at that point. But also, giving time for reflection and giving time to personal development. So certainly get outside. Being outside is kind of nice too once in a while to work around the house, but also to shift that up and to do some good intellectual work and some good reflection time. So
it's really wonderful that you highlighted that the family part and how you are helping your son. So I really feel like we really need always to make a balance between the family and the career path. So thank you so much. You are valuable with your knowledge and information. A great speaker as usual, Professor Dr. Schwarm. Thank you so much for being with us today at American Training Academy Facebook page, sharing your wonderful experience and valuable knowledge. Thank you so much, Dr. Schwarm. Thank you. The new handshake. The elbow.
handshake.
Thank you.
Terrific. Have a great day. Take care.
You too. Thank you.